done this presentation to the school board
We are this Thursday.
Thursday?
Yes.
Because a lot of what I'm seeing, you know, is we don't do roads, that's DOT.
Sure.
And it's the school system that needs to coordinate the buses and stuff like that, and it's the developer. Now, that development has been approved before I ever got on this board, and Ms. Cook's the only one that's been on longer than I have, and I think it was probably approved before she did as a master plan. So once you approve the master plan, they can move along with their development and everything. So I'm trying to figure out if DOT would come to us and tell us, this is what we really
They did.
need. Will you give us your blessing? We would probably give them our blessing.
They did last year, and that's exactly what happened.
Yep.
Thank you, Ted.
Well, then how come it happened?
Because the thing that's the roadblock is the developer allowing access to utilize that road, Riverdale Towns Parkway, to where the buses and cars could enter in through the rear of the school. And ultimately, on average, the majority of people work, so it wouldn't really affect those town homeowners who live right next to a school. So all they basically want is the same access to be able to use that road. They would close up that, I'll go back to the slide.
Well, they can't even get back out on Buffalo Road anyway if the traffic's when they go to school, can they?
Right now they
That's
don't.
right.
Well, now, my question would be,
This is the Riverdale Towns Parkway right here.
right, now, you want school buses to be able to travel on that.
Here's what we want.
And
We
my question
want
to you,
whatever
follow-
we can get.
Right, my follow-up question to you would be, you obviously as research as you are, you do know what our authority is.
Yes, that you approve communities, but it's not just Flowers Plantation. So to communicate back to you, yes, that was approved maybe when Cookie Poke was on the board, but we've now got other developers, Taft Woods East, Taft Woods West, we've got, you know, Portofino, that are now
Plus
accessing Riverdale as their school. So there's other developers that have been approved in that same area, and so that population is all accumulated.
Yeah, well, I saw your thing about, and of course, that's why I wanted to go to school board, about schools being over capacity. They've always been like that. They're gonna be like that.
Correct.
We build them as we can afford them and as we can get people like y'all to pass the bonds to build them.
Correct.
So, but you wouldn't want schools half full, spending millions of dollars. At one time when I first got on this board and we started building schools, we owed over right around $500 million in principal, and when you put the interest on it, it was close to $1 billion to pay it off. That's a lot of money for the county this size, especially with some of the other stuff you heard. Most of our sales tax dollars go to Raleigh and everything. But we try to build them as we need them and add the classrooms and everything as we need them. Now, we don't have anything to do with when to build a school. I think there ought to always be turn lanes and everything. DOT should be requiring that when we're talking about it through the planning board, the school system doing the site plans and the bus routes and everything like that. That ought to be done, just like playgrounds and fences ought to be done, and not hit the parents up the day they come in for supplies and fences.
I 100% agree with you. That's why we're holding everybody accountable. The county for approving additional planned communities, the Board of Education for not securing land when they saw this forecasted and coming, and that we're now there and we have no plans.
So the main problem with us is what I'm hearing is us
Suspend.
allowing this development taking place.
And-
Forget the roads, forget school buses, we understand that's out of our authority.
Correct.
What you're charging us with is development practices.
Well, I mean, just until the infrastructure can catch up, because right now, I mean, with a forecast of 30,000 people still coming, we're halfway there, and we're already at a problem, a huge problem.
I understand.
That's all we're presenting. We understand what your guys' limits are, and we understand that's why we gotta go to the Board of Education. We gotta hit everybody up.
I just wanna make sure I knew what I was charged with, what you're asking.
Sure.
Who's in charge of redistricting?
Who's in charge of redistricting?
School Board of Education.
So once again, that's what I was getting at. What is
Sure.
actually charging us with everything?
It-
Thank you, DOT, school board, and I wanna make sure that I was clear on what you're asking me to do for you.
Sure.
But can they redistrict without your approval? Because I know it's a political hot.
Yeah, we don't have anything to do with it.
So we were here
Would
last.
you like redistricting, is that what you're saying?
No, but that will lower our property values. That, if that's the inevitable forecast, that's gonna lower, I'm sure Flowers Plantation won't be happy with that because people are gonna be mad as hell at the fact that they're now having to go 30, 40 minutes redistricting. And not to mention the fact that the school ratings are going down. When I moved here 2 years ago, it was a 9 rating and it's down to a 7. So obviously it's impacting the school rating. So there's things that bring people to communities. That was the huge one for us, was the school rating and the proximity in which I lived to the school.
Well, my wife is a school teacher at Flowers Elementary. I have 3 children in middle and Flowers Elementary. And I serve on the elementary PTA and the middle school PTA, so I understand what's going on with the school system.
Sure.
Flowers Elementary is the largest populated elementary school in Johnston County with 1,106 students. So we're facing some of the same challenges. We just don't have a development the size of yours right across the street.
Sure.
So I was glad to see the presentation.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Network of school buses go through the neighborhood.
So there are school buses that go, so in the community behind, if you're looking at this map, across the street going south is Flowers Plantation Community, the village. And so that's where I live, is below it. Right now, there's no sidewalks, but the buses travel in through there and other portions of the village where there's 5 different bus stop locations that they pick up and drop off twice. So somehow there was buses that were able to travel within that community. I guess I don't see the difference in with the buses being able to travel on Riverdale Towns Parkway to enter through the rear. Because right now, the public already accesses our roads, so it's really no different.
Yeah, I rode around
Your
today
kids
when
could
I-
ride the bus, is that correct?
I'm sorry?
Your kids could ride the bus to school? is that
That's what they advertise at the school. I just registered my child to go to kindergarten there, and they handed me a bus form, and I said, but I live like not even a quarter of a mile. I plan on walking her, hopefully, to the school. So they encourage busing because of the lack of infrastructure. It's the safer route to school. But after attending these active routes to school conferences, there's such things as like walking school buses, where say like Harris Teeter would be a great location where these people can now drop their kids off. If there was only a sidewalk from that place up to the school, now we can have PTA volunteer members that can act as walking school buses, and it takes a lot of that traffic off of Buffalo Road to where now these other people who live in other areas of Archer Lodge, wherever they're coming from, that are in that school district. The school buses within the village to me is ridiculous. These people can be walking if it was safe.
So they're running across the street.
Right.
They're not
The
walking,
neighborhood I
they're
rode
running for
around
their
today
life.
is a very, very large neighborhood, and it would be one heck of a walk for some kids in some of those houses back there.
Well, I walk it, and from my house to the
Golf
club
cart
is
would not
only
be
a
there.
mile.
Golf cart, I saw some people on golf carts today, and I thought to myself, well, maybe.
Well, that's because we can.
Yeah, bring your golf cart up, drop the guy
But
off.
that is
load
an
it up,
option,
drop
but
it
even
off.
so, it's just promoting a healthier lifestyle to our kids and getting some of the emissions out of busing these kids to school, especially if they're also sharing buses with Corinth holders and the middle school.
So that DOT plan or whatever, so the buses, I guess, would have to go and come out of that Walnut Street.
Yes, so what they propose is right here is where the current buses and cars enter. But so we would have a 4-way cross signal, and then the buses and cars that are the queuing cars that are dropping off, the buses would go here, and then the cars would continue down this path and enter into the queuing. So it gives a longer queuing formation to where then they ultimately drop off here.
So then they would come out there to the left like they do now.
And then we would
Yes.
still
Where
exit
would
from
the-
right
But that's
here.
not my question. My question is where the buses will come back out at.
The buses would exit the same way, so when they leave to go pick up kids, they would come out here.
So then you
So-
can have buses going and coming on that same street.
Not at
Once-
the same time.
I'm
Once
saying
the
that.
bus, Keith, once the buses come to Riverdale Elementary in the morning drop off, they park until they go to the high school route in the
I
afternoon.
understand. But how many buses to go to that school, do you know?
I do not know, that would be a good question for,
I mean, is it
15?
15?
20, 15 or 20.
okay, she says 15 or 20, she's on the PTA, so I would take hers over my guess.
So
Do
if
most of
we
them.
could get a bus on the Parkway, check mark.
Well, that's obviously a step in the right direction, absolutely, because of the fact that they're entering all into the same area. I guess like, we would be very happy if what we could achieve, oh, I'm sorry, is buses, even if it was just buses, let's say hypothetical, and they're the ones going in through here. But the thing is that the cars would still have to go in through there because they would close that, you couldn't have that entrance there because of where the signals would be. So you would have to close that entrance where they're currently entering right here. So the cars and buses would have to go there. And like I was saying, if we could petition those homeowners that live, the 20 town homeowners that this might potentially affect, because ultimately it would be their HOA road, would it really impact them if they're at work? Or if they're already gone?
But if you get access to that road
Uh-huh,
with buses, then your DOT plan goes into work. That's what's holding it up.
yes. And that's all encompassing, so what they presented as far as this flashing light, that's still gonna back up traffic down Buffalo Road going, south, because it currently does that anyway. So you only have one traffic stop location potentially, you need it at every intersection along Buffalo Road. And I think that they planned, according to the 42 widening, it's been proposed to add more signals at other intersections on Buffalo Road. So, I mean, like Tim said, I take his professional opinion very, very highly. He does this for a living. A flashing light doesn't stop a car, and I'll tell you what, lowered speed limit doesn't slow down those cars either. You saw that video.
Especially in the rain. It's atrocious in the rain.
Yeah, that would be a big concern of mine being in elementary school, if it's a middle school or.
Correct.
or high school.
I mean, current holders, they can drive, a lot of them. Middle school, it's gonna have its own problems. I'm sure somebody will be here soon enough to talk about that, but, I mean, this is just, it was forecasted back in 2006. They saw it coming, and this is where I hold the Board of Education accountable too. It was forecasted, they saw it coming, and there was no funding or land secured for it. Now, to be the complete devil's advocate here, Flowers Plantation has donated 2 parcels of land. I don't feel like they should have to donate any more land. I don't hold them to that. That's not their responsibility. They did it for whatever reasons, the goodness of their heart, or to achieve water or sewer, I don't know. But
They do it to sell houses.
and there you go. Well, where are they gonna go to school? I mean,
Okay, thank you. And I've got some other folks that want to speak. Are you finished with your presentation? Because I think some of your other ladies want to speak.
sure, and then we do have questions for the Flowers Plantation public comments portion.
Okay, I'm just trying to hit fast forward
Sure,
just a
no
little bit.
problem.
And I would appreciate it if, when you do come speak, give us your name and address, and also, don't be redundant. I mean, I think we got the premise of what's going on. So if you've got new information to share with us, I'll give you all the time you need. I don't want another 30-minute same speech.
And I appreciate the
Please,
time. Thank
come.
you.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Tracy Asphalt. I live at 12 South Orchard Drive in Clayton. I'm in Flowers Plantation. I'm a resident there. One of the things that we look at, the thing that you need to understand right now, so with carpool in the morning, we have cars that are backed up on Buffalo down past Harris Teeter right now, which is on the corner at the crossroads of 42 and Buffalo. And those people are sitting there and they're waiting. Our kids, that carpool lane, including buses, the doors to the school open at 8:35 a.m. and at 8:50, the doors lock and you're now considered late. So we literally have 15 minutes to get all of these kids and buses in and out. And that's, I mean, you're talking over 1,000 people, kids to get to and from that school. I think some of the things that I have questions for, and it's been addressed, but no one's really had the answer. We're not looking for the town's home road, because I know that services a whole nother development beyond the school that Flowers Plantation is currently developing, and there are currently residents back there. We're now looking for an all-day access pass here for buses and traffic and stuff. We need it for about a 20-minute block in the morning and a 25-minute block in the afternoon to get our kids in and out, to get all that traffic off of Buffalo Road. Because now you have regular commuters on Buffalo Road, they're not going to school. They're construction vehicles, the logging trucks, the cement trucks, people going into Raleigh or wherever for work, and they're running Buffalo Road because they live out there. Now they're mad because they're sitting in traffic, and the minute that they open up, they're zipping by, and I guarantee those are probably the majority of the people who are causing the accidents. They're the ones that are, you know, nearly hitting Mr. Tim, our volunteer. They're the ones who are hitting our buses. You know, they're the ones that are, you know, getting T-boned or whatever because they're going past the entrance and access of the schools. So, I don't know, because it's a private road, if there's some sort of a special use type thing on that road that we can find an agreement to, like I said, to be able to give us some sort of a solution in the morning and in the afternoon. So, kind of,
And I guess that's what I was asking her.
Right.
What are you to do about that road? What are you asking us to do about that road?
we don't know what, I guess, what we're asking, what can you do
That's what I'm
for
saying,
us?
it's a private road,
Yeah.
I just,
Right.
I would love to help you.
DOT's plan will not work unless it's a public road, dedicated public road.
But as a commission board, we don't have the authority
That's exactly right.
to do anything with that road.
Who does eminent, where does eminent domain come into play?
If you wanna come up and ask us that, I'll answer for you, but it really doesn't have anything to do with what we're talking about right now. So eminent domain, that would not necessarily be a public, but, well, I tell you, our board has never done an eminent
Well,
domain or
DOT
anything like
has that
this.
same right.
Yeah, it sure
DOT
can.
wants to do it to fix the traffic problem, DOT
Yes,
can
ma'am,
do it.
you're right.
So, my name's Amanda Weston. I live at 180 Running Springs Court in Clayton. I'm not in Flowers Plantation, but I'm in Tapwoods East, and my children go to Riverdale. I don't know what y'all can do exactly and what the power is that we're asking you to do, but it is in your best interest to help, because I'm telling you right now as a parent, I watch the buses turn illegally. They go around the traffic and they turn illegally into the school. My kid gets hit on that bus, I'm suing y'all. And I'm telling that straight up. It's in your interest to help. Cause I'm not gonna be the only parent who's gonna be suing you when my kid's bus is hit. And 2 months ago, I watched the accident happen. Lady pulled out, she could not see, it's a blind turn. Other person coming across, boom, two kids crying, and I'm thinking, they're leaving in an ambulance. You're gonna get sued. I don't want you to get sued. I don't know what power you can have, but whatever you can do to help us, it's in your interest, it's in the county's interest, cause y'all don't wanna lose money because my kid gets hurt. So that's my piece.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next. If you wanna come speak, come, please.
Oh, is it possible to pull up their recommendation? Their recommended,
When we ask the question,
when we ask the questions?
I'm not gonna go that deep into
Okay.
that. We allow them to speak, I'm gonna allow y'all your
Okay.
time, and then we'll have a meeting, at another time. So
At
come
that,
up if you
okay.
need to.
Ask us something. Please. Yes, ma'am.
my name is Kim Fishback, and I live at 54 Feather Falls Court. I'm not in Flowers Plantation, but my children do attend Riverdale. I know there's been a lot of talk tonight and in previous meetings about tax dollars leaving Johnston County as a veteran community. One of the ways that the county commissioners and that the county can ensure that people stay and spend their money is to make sure that the schools are safe. I know I've spoken with several parents who have said there's other options, there's better options in Lake County. And so why not live in Johnston County, but let's send our students there. Let's look at some of North Raleigh Christian Academy, some of those other schools. And it just seems like it would make more sense to really make Johnston County a county for everyone and allow the schools to be safe and the children to be safe.
And I'd have to say that I couldn't imagine anybody not agreeing with you on that, so it's paramount, definitely. But, once again, I was trying to get an idea of, there's various levels of government that are responsible for different things, obviously roads, obviously school building. And I understand from tonight's presentations, one of the main things you're frustrated, and I get that, and you have a right to be. But one of the things I've gathered that I feel that we are responsible for is the growth. And that's, as Mr. Williams said, that's been an ongoing situation for many years to come, and we do the best we can to work with that. But I do understand your frustration as a mother. As y'all be a mother, me not be one, but I understand.
Oh, my. Been a long day,
You said
boys.
it was due at 6:30.
The game's over.
Never say that.
Okay. Anyone else wants to speak speak from your group. Okay.
I have one question, Mr. Chair, Mr. James. When, earlier in your presentation, you said something about the foundation. When you bought your property and signed papers, you were aware of the foundation and everything, right?
I can honestly tell you that I wasn't aware of the foundation, but we were made aware of it at our closing. It was just one of those things, but we're like, well, that makes sense. They're private roads. We gotta pay for them. I mean, it made sense. But the thing with the foundation though is that there's a lot of, we don't have a say. They can increase or decrease. We could pay for a sidewalk in front of
I guess my point is.
Riverdale Elementary
if you
School.
make this excellent presentation, I think that would be the issue.
Well, I am for the Board of Education,
Okay.
because we're just addressing that.
That's something-
Listen, I had very little time, Paula knows, and she's been a blessing in helping me get this together, so I appreciate that. I know it was a lot, and I really appreciate all y'all's time. I really do.
All right, so we're finished.
You're off the hook.
Your speaking time, okay? All right, what I think we need to do is look at the presentation in more depth, that they gave us more of the presentation, and let's kind of merge those together. Let's talk with Tim Little again to see if there's anything. I spoke with him briefly today at another meeting. I don't know that there's any quick fix out there, or easy, and certainly not, I don't see using eminent domain to do anything of that sort. But why don't you kind of stay involved in this? You and Keith have been involved in this from a school
Yeah, just
perspective.
safety concern, I mean, they're all saying that's.
Okay, well, why don't you and Keith get with Rick and y'all come up with a game plan to look at this overall from 80,000 feet, please? All right, okay.